What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. This is a full weekend of triathlon racing in Bentonville, Arkansas. We have Cruze's kids race. Ryan is doing 3 different races, the trifecta series. So he's doing a sprint, a super sprint, and then an Olympic. And then my mom and her cousin are also racing the super sprint. Ryan's best friend Chris is racing the sprint with him. We're all here, we're all participating, and it's gonna be a good weekend, so come along.
Race number 1 of the weekend was Cruze, our 6-year-old's very first triathlon. It was phenomenal. The dude was super hyped up about it. He did a special little pose as he jumped into the water that he was really excited about. He swam 25 meters across the pool unsupported, got out, and had a really long run to transition 1. And it was so cute. Guy was just, you know, controlling his breath, running with a swim cap on and his goggles up on his forehead like a pro. And he was really particular about how T1 unfolded. He was telling me to hurry. I got to help him in transition 1. He was telling me to hurry to put his socks and shoes on him because he wanted to go. And got his bike off the rack, and he took off of T1, out of T1 onto the bike, just absolutely hammering. When he rode a mile on the bike, out and back, and when he came back in, he was gritting his teeth and growling. I mean, the guy was really getting after it, and came off the bike doing a flying dismount, which, if you'll remember from Allie's Ironman, the dismount is a really tricky thing to do. It's not unusual to see people go over the handlebars, even, you know, skilled racers. And so Cruze did like the most perfect Olympic style flying dismount, ran into transition 2. I could not move fast enough for him to assist him in transition 2. He wanted me to go faster. And then he had a half-mile run and had a few good battles in there. Had a sprint finish at the end that he came out on top of, and just had a great race. I was so excited for him. It was really neat at the finish line. An American Olympian in triathlon, Sarah True, was there, and we got to go over and speak with her for a minute, and really, really cool how friendly she was, how many questions she asked of Cruze. So just really great to, number 1, get to interact with the absolute best in the sport, and to see how engaged they are in the next generation in the sport. Race number 2 of the weekend was sprint distance. This was the whole reason why we went. My best buddy from Arkansas a while back sent me a text with the registration for this event and said, hey, let's go do the sprint. Okay, let's go. So Chris and his family came over, and we had a really great time racing that sprint distance. It was 400 meters in the pool and just shy of 14 miles on the bike, and then a 5K run. I haven't raced short distance in quite some time, having, you know, spent all these months recently training for Ironman. I've been training at a lower intensity, so I found myself like with a really high heart rate as I was trying to go fast, and wasn't really going that fast. Unfortunately, I didn't have my triathlon bike. It was already in shipping to go to Kona, so I rode my road bike. That slowed me down by, I think, like 2 miles an hour, which was unfortunate, but still had a great time seeing my buddy out there on course, and getting back a bit to my roots, if you will, in the shorter distance stuff. And yeah, it was a great race. Really cool to see Chris come across his 2nd finish line this year. The first one was at 70.3 Chattanooga in the spring, and he suffered through that one, but he evidently liked it enough to want to do it again. And I think that's kind of the name of the game for triathlon, is you hate it when you're at the end of it, and a couple weeks later you come back to it because it's just so addictive. Race number 3 of the weekend was a crazy one, a super sprint. Distances on this one were 200-meter swim, 1-mile bike, 4-mile bike, and a 1-mile all-out run. This one was really neat because of its unique distance, also because my mother-in-law raced with me and her cousin raced with her. And so really awesome distance for everybody involved. For the top end of the race, it's a really great opportunity to see just how much speed you got left in you. And you know, for everyone else, it's a distance that's not intimidating. It's something that anybody and everybody can do and have a great time at. And so this race, again, being shorter, I struggled with a little bit just because I don't have the same top end that I used to have based on the training that I've been doing. But I did learn something from race number 2, which was the sprint. I learned that I needed to build into the bike and build into the run to try to control my heart rate. So my all-out mile was pretty pathetic, although my heart rate was banging. So it was all that I had. Neat to cross that finish line. Again, really neat to see some family cross the finish line and take some group pictures in our tri-suits afterwards. The fourth and final race of the weekend was an Olympic distance, but a unique one in that it was what they call F1 style. So it was basically 2 sprint distance triathlons back to back. So it was swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. And I had never done a run to swim transition before.
Here we go. Let's swim again. You got it.
I was nervous about that because I'm not a very good swimmer. But Milo, my buddy Chris, came out and his family supported me. Obviously my family was out there supporting me. And it's funny because at one point in the race, I saw them on the bike course, and I think Allie asked me, like, what lap are you on? Maybe Chris asked me. And when you've got an aero helmet on, the wind that's coming through your ears, I mean, it's just super loud. Just like imagine sticking your head out the window of your car doing 30 miles an hour. You just can't hear anything. And so I couldn't tell if they could hear me. So I'm like screaming to them what lap I'm on.
Hello, baby Ryan, let's go!
And I think it was like me screaming in a small room for them. But nonetheless, this one, knowing that it was an Olympic distance, again, longer was going to suit me a little bit better. Again, at this point, I had really seen the importance of building into each different discipline instead of just kind of coming out of the gates wide open. And this is one where I really wished I would have had my tri bike. I rode with the guy who ended up winning it all he was on a triathlon bike with a disc wheel, and I'm on a road bike. And you know, there were several times where I overtook him on the bike course. They gave me confidence leading into Kona, you know, that my biking is you know, in a decent spot. And so you know, I do the first sprint distance, and at the end of the first run, start to try to control my breathing, bring my heart rate down a little bit to get ready to jump into the pool again. And ended up having to wait to jump back into the pool behind a couple of people. So I just kind of stood there. That was it was unique to be just standing still in a race. And I jumped in the water and had the second swim was like the best swim of the entire weekend, which absolutely blew my mind. I figured I would really struggle with that. But the water felt great. I was already warmed up, had a phenomenal swim that second go around, and then, you know, finished out with the second bike in the second run.
Yes! Oh yeah! Look at that finish! Holy moly! Ryan Bear, the fastest finisher across the line so far today.
Came across that finish line feeling good, wanting more, which is a really great place to be, again, leading into the Ironman World Championships, both at the full distance and the half distance in October. So the next race is the Ironman World Championship in Kailua Kona, Hawaii. And we found out this morning that my bike has already arrived in Honolulu. Super excited that it made it there. I'm assuming that it made it there safe. We put an Apple AirTag in my bike so that we could get kind of shipping updates as it went, and to, you know, provide a little bit of added assurance, if you will, that it was going to make it there safely and on time. So that's getting me really excited. I am in my taper now at this point. Like the majority of the mileage and hard work is done. Hay is in the barn, as they say. And so now my workouts are shorter in duration, shorter in intensity, and I'm really beginning to shed a lot of the fatigue that I built, really in the block leading up. And so, I mean, this morning I had the best run that I've had all year long. That's really exciting. We're, starting to pull up pictures of the Airbnb that we're staying at and start to kind of map out what our time on the island is going to look like. And so, because of all that, the excitement vibes are just super, super high. So I can't wait to get to the island. I can't wait to experience it all. I got to continue to work on shedding expectations from a performance perspective, just so that, when we get to Hawaii, we just start to have a ton of fun, and when we leave Hawaii, we've left with a ton of excellent memories. And so I can't believe it's here. Qualified for this race in September of 2019. Be 37 months of training for this race, essentially. And so it's going to be a great day, and super giant thanks to my wife and everyone who's helped me get to this point. And here we go. Let's go do this thing.